Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on the Ultimate Giving Tuesday Guide, Secrets to Skyrocket Your Success. My name is Jenna Notar-Francesco. I am an account executive at CauseVox, and we are joined today by Julie Edwards, the Nonprofit Maven. She is a strategist, a marketing strategist, and fundraising and marketing strategist at the Nonprofit Maven, and she has so many tips and tricks for you today for just getting up for Giving Tuesday. And yeah, I'm just so excited to have her here because she is an expert in the field, especially about Giving Tuesday, because she's done countless Giving Tuesdays for organizations. So I'm sure she has a lot of experience and information to give you all. So yeah, while we're getting started, I just want to welcome everybody in the chat. If you want, definitely chat us in, let us know your name, your organization, where you're from. And I don't know, something that I really want to know is like, who here is a pumpkin spice latte person? Like, if you are a pumpkin spice latte person, I want to see pumpkin spice in the chat right now. Who got theirs already? I don't
Not
know.
mine yet, but I'm going today. I'm actually today after this webinar. I need to go into town and run some errands, so I'm going to. I was like, I could swing by Starbucks. It's right by Old Navy.
Right.
Except for I don't do pumpkin so much as I like the caramelly things.
You like the
Caramel,
caramel things.
yes, yes.
You'll wait till October. I heard it's already started, right? Like my pumpkin
Yep,
spice
I've already
people,
started.
they've already got it all. Not to the latte, yes, to the pumpkin ice cream. Oh, nice. Pumpkin ice
Oh,
cream.
hey, Terry. Terry's right down the street from me in Atlanta.
Oh, nice. Oh, hi, Terry. Yes. It's so good to have you here with us again today.
To pumpkin spice in 90 degrees. Bring
PSL, right? Yeah, we're super hot here too in New York. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I heard it was like warmer there than it is here in Georgia, which is insane,
Yeah,
for
that's
here.
crazy. Hot here too. Yeah, we got a little bit of a heat wave. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to postpone our PSL. Okay, fine. Maybe we just need to do a webinar on fall drinks. No, favorite fall drinks. Definitely a pumpkin spice latte person. Nice. Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much of Julie's time, so I'm just going to intro CauseVox a little bit for those of you who are new. So CauseVox is a digital fundraising platform, and we're here to help nonprofits get up and running really easily for all their Giving Tuesday and year-end fundraising. So we provide all the product for you, right? So we provide really best-in-class donation forms. They are donor-centric. So the donor has a really easy time giving, a great experience, and you don't leave any donations on the table. You get all of your online donations with flexible mobile wallets and flexible giving tiers for your donors. So if you're interested in learning more about basically, who CauseVox is, what we do, you can check us out and book a demo. I just dropped the link in the chat. But yeah, really helpful for, all your donation forms, ticketing, peer-to-peer fundraising. And, these products can be used for Giving Tuesday specifically and also year end. And then we have free resources on our blog so that you can subscribe to more webinars like this one. And I'll put the link here for subscribing to our blog. But yeah, without further ado, I do want to turn over the webinar to Julie. I actually should mention two more housekeeping items before I release you. First of all, this webinar is being recorded. So you will have a chance to watch the whole webinar again at your convenience. So no worries about needing to take tons of notes. Just sit back, relax. Maybe you're having a lunch or something or a breakfast, wherever you are. And the other thing is that we're going to have a section for Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, which I'm sure we're going to have lots of questions, so please make sure to use the Q&A panel at the bottom. And then Julie will get to as many questions as she can at the end of her presentation. Awesome. I don't think I missed anything, but if I did, you can always let me know. Anyway, Have fun learning about Giving Tuesday secrets to success.
Thank you, Jenna. And thank you everyone for being here. I was looking in the chat and there's people here from Greece and Mexico and Poland. That's incredible. I mean, I really truly appreciate y'all taking time out of your day to spend listening to my advice and tips. I used to be a director of development and an executive director in a previous life before I was a consultant. And I know how precious time is when you work for a nonprofit. There's never enough of it. And so I appreciate you being here. And I was talking with Jenna when we were leading up to the webinar, right before the webinar, and I was trying to think last night how many Giving Tuesdays I have helped with or ran over my career. And if I'm not near 40, I'm very near 40. And after this, definitely after this holiday season coming up with my clients, I will be over 40 and probably approaching 50. So I've done quite a few, both for my own organization and for other organizations that I've worked with, Giving Tuesdays. So really more than I can say grace over. So I feel like I'm a little bit of a Giving Tuesday expert just from sheer volume alone. So we're going to go over a couple of different things today. So one thing we're going to go over first is, should you even participate in Giving Tuesday? I mean, a lot of people don't know whether it's something they should do or not, or feel frustrated about it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk about, where to start, some of the best practices, and then step-by-step strategy. And I have a ton of ideas and samples and graphics in here from organizations I've worked with and from my former organization, to give you inspiration. If you've never taken a webinar with me before, my approach to teaching and leading webinars is a very practical approach. I want you to leave here feeling like you can manage to do this on your own and having some things that you can implement right away or soon to get things rolling. Again, I know when I was in the field, when I was an executive director, those are the kinds of things I wanted to get out of webinars. So I try to teach people that attend my webinars the kind of things that I used to want to learn. So if you don't know what Giving Tuesday is, which I think most people do, but if you don't, it was created in 2012. So it hasn't been around all that long. But it was a day, basically a global movement to encourage generosity. It became part of a fundraising movement, but there actually is a whole arm of Giving Tuesday that has nothing to do with fundraising. It's just, volunteering your time, spreading goodwill. But for nonprofits, it became a fundraising day, a big fundraising day. And of course, millions of people participate and millions of dollars are raised. On average, what this is from 2022 for Giving Tuesday stats, 10 times more donations are given on Giving Tuesday than any other average giving day. I mean, that's pretty huge. I mean, it's a very focused day, with the average donation being $159, the average monthly donation coming away from that day being around $65. And last year, nearly 10,000 campaigns raised over 44 million. So it's nothing to sneeze at. It is a big day for some folks, but again, may not be for everyone. So now we're going to talk about, should you participate? This may be a little controversial actually, but it's not for everyone. And it's not for every organization. And you should really weigh whether Giving Tuesday is worth the effort. Because if you don't have the resources to put into doing it well, then it may not be worth your while to do it. You may just want to focus that energy on your general year-end campaign and not worry about Giving Tuesday. I have found that Giving Tuesday is sort of a controversial topic in the nonprofit world because it seems like people either love it or they loathe it. They either hate it or they like it's the best thing ever. And then I think there are some people that feel like they sort of have to participate because everybody else is doing it. And you shouldn't feel that way. I mean, you should really, here's some of the things you should look at, and we'll go over these in detail. What is the size and engagement of your email list? Because email is the main way in social media, or it's a digital campaign. So it's the way you're going to communicate with donors and potential donors. Or how are you maintaining communication with your email list and your donors on a regular basis? Do you again have the resources to plan and run the campaign? And do you have a compelling reason for people to give? And we'll talk a little bit more about all these things. We're going to go into them in a little depth. So email engagement. So email engagement isn't just about the size of your list. It's about the number of people on that list that are engaging. So you could have a relatively small list of like, say, 1,000 people, but if 50% of that list is engaging, that's incredible. 500 people are engaging and giving, that's good. But you can have a list of 5,000 people and only have 100 people that are actively engaging, and it's the same percentage. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter so much the size of the list as to how many people on your list are actually regularly giving to you and engaging with your organization. So if you have a somewhat sizable list, I'd probably say 1,000-ish and more. I'm not going to put a definitive figure on that. But the main thing is to look at how many people are giving to you or active donors, or now, of course, you may get some new donors during Giving Tuesday, but the ones that you're promoting to now that are already on your list, it is probably worth doing. But again, Giving Tuesday is a digital campaign, and social media has been somewhat iffy. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So you're really going to need to focus on your email. So you really need to feel confident that your email is going to pull well. Actually, I'll talk about social now. So last year, year end 2020, it was not great for social media. My clients, every single one of my clients, they had social media did not pull for them. It didn't pull donations. It didn't pull engagement. The thing is that you cannot control the algorithms on Facebook and TikTok and all the different things that you're on. They change all the time. And there's more and more competition out there. But your email list is your email list. And you can control how many emails you send. And you can segment your email list. And you can target that to however you want to target it. And email return is usually much, much, much greater than social media. So again, you want to really focus more on email and use social media as an enhancement to your email. Communication. So how are you communicating with your donors and in general with the people that are on your email list right now? No, they're not necessarily all donors, but are you sending monthly emails of some kind? It could be a newsletter, it could be a thank you, it could be a story. Are you regularly communicating thanks and reporting back to your donors? In addition to asking for money, are you telling them thank you and here's what's going on and here's what we're doing with your money? And also, do you use email for other fundraising appeals? And let me tell you why all these things are important. You can't go from 0 to 100. You can't not have sent an email all year to your donors or of any kind, thanks or appeal, and then all of a sudden send 8 emails on one day. That's going to be very off-putting to people. But if you were regularly, sending emails and people, see the emails from you and they're engaging with them and they're clicking through and they're commenting on them, then it's good. A lot of people talk about over asking and they worry about over asking and sending too many emails. My rule of thumb has always been you cannot over ask and you cannot over send as long as you're appropriately thanking and as long as you're warming people up and aren't just sending no emails at all and then all of a sudden blasting folks with emails, a whole bunch of emails in one day or 1 week. So resources. This can be a huge thing for nonprofits. Do you have the team members ready for this? And that's including leading up to the day and the day of to implement all the different parts and plan the strategy and get all the parts and pieces ready for the campaign. Do you have a way for donors to donate digitally that's easy for them to do? An email platform that allows you to easily create and send emails. A way to easily segment donors. Do you have a CRM that you currently use? I mean, those are all important things because the easier it is for you, the better the campaign will be. And you want to make it easy for you, obviously, as much as possible. And there are a lot of tools out there that are not very expensive. CauseVox is a great tool for this, for crowdfunding, which basically Giving Tuesday is a crowdfunding campaign. And you can also have a peer-to-peer component, which we're not going to talk about today, but CauseVox also allows you to have a peer-to-peer component to any campaign that you run. But something like that, a platform like that can also be very beneficial because it allows a very pretty landing page that's very targeted to the day, that you can have a progress bar, that you can do updates on. So that's something to consider. A compelling reason. So are you gathering your stories? Are you gathering your mission stories? Do you have what I call a story bank, a place where you keep all of your stories? Or do you have a single great story that you could use throughout the whole campaign? There's something to be said for, and we have done this at my organization in the past, taking one really compelling, awesome story and just repeating it. Because you can do that. If it's a great enough story, people don't mind hearing about it again and again. And the other thing is, do you have a compelling, relatable, very tangible program or need that could use financial support? Because you could make Giving Tuesday about supporting one specific thing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. And oops, sorry. Oh, this is what I was just talking about. I apologize. So one important note, again, if your organization does not regularly communicate via email, it might not be prudent to bombard donors or anyone else with multiple emails over a short time. The good news is that you do have time between now and Giving Tuesday to do what I call warm up donors. So you have 2 months plus to send some emails of thanks. Here's what we've done this year. Here's what you've made happen this year. And sort of get them used to getting an email from you before Giving Tuesday. I mean, you can send 2 or 3 emails in September, 2 or 3 emails in October, one the 1st of November, one for Thanksgiving. So a couple of emails a month, just not asking for money, just thanking, telling what's going on at your organization, wishing them a happy Thanksgiving, happy Halloween, whatever, just something, just a touch point, a warm touch point to make them feel good about your organization. So again, Giving Tuesday can be a game changer for folks, but it's not for every organization. And you really do need to assess your organization's resources to determine if it's right for you and if it's something that you can do successfully. So where to start? You're going to go ahead. You're going to do Giving Tuesday. You're on board. So the first thing you need to do is develop a timeline. Write out literally what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who's going to be responsible for it. When are you going to start communication? You think, oh, well, the day of. No, you can start communication a month ahead of time. I mean, you can, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. Are you going to send any print communications? I have clients that send a save the date postcard out in advance because they don't have emails for everyone. So they do send out a save the date postcard to everyone and say, Giving Tuesdays on this day. Please remember, please give. How many emails are you going to send leading up to and the day of? Because again, you can send emails leading up to. How many social posts you're going to post, again, leading up to and the day of. And again, who's going to be responsible for all those things? Because you've got copywriting, you've got graphic creation, you've got the scheduling, actually physical scheduling of the social posts and the emails, and again, leading up to and the day of. So this is just a sample, very basic sample timeline. But you can see there, this particular organization, they send a save the date email and social out on the Tuesday before. 2 days ahead of time, they send out a post/email. Then tomorrow, and then the day of, they sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 different social posts, and maybe like 3 emails. So you don't need to do as many emails as social posts on the day of. I would probably say, and again, this changes for everyone, but maybe 3 to 4 emails the day of, unless you have a huge email list, and that's a different story. But more social posts, I'd say social posts, typically we do a social post about every 3 hours. And a lot of those can be incentives. And again, we're going to talk about that and what you can do to incentivize people to give that day, especially people that maybe not have given to your organization in the past. Where to start? So this isn't in any particular order, but again, look at your digital assets. Can you set up a website page? It would be best if you don't have a CallsVox type program to use, which would be great to do, but have a specific website landing page for Giving Tuesday. Does it look good on people's phones? Because I think like 85% of people donate through their phones now. It's some ridiculously high number. Can you put that progress bar on there? Because progress bars can be very encouraging to folks. If you're getting very close to the goal, people may want to push you over the edge and they may send a little bit bigger donation. Can it be customized? So those are all things to think about. What can you do with your website landing page or wherever you're going to be targeting your donations as far as making it easy, attractive, phone friendly, and all those things. Your email platform, it could be that you have email through your CRM. It could be that you have MailChimp, Constant Contact, various things, Flowdesk. There's all kinds of options nowadays. But again, is it easy to use? Is it customizable? Is it easy to link? Is it easy to schedule? And if you need multiple days, like I have some clients that have a particular CRM that I'm not going to mention the name of, but they can't schedule in advance. They cannot set up to send in advance. They can put the email in a draft, but they have to go in and physically hit the button to send it, which is crazy because, a lot of them will let you go ahead and schedule it as well, but their system does not allow you to do that. So in that regard, they're going to have somebody there on the days and the times they want to send that email on Giving Tuesday to hit the button and say deploy. And again, your CRM, is it easy to link? Is it easy to send thank yous? Is it easy to send campaign afterwards? Is it going to record all the information that needs to record on the donor record? A lot of times, the email platforms, the CallsVox kind of platforms, those things will all integrate. It really just depends on, they don't all work together, but like Little Green Light, for example, was the CRM we used to use, not promoting Little Green Light per se, but just the one we use. it integrated with MailChimp. So we could push information, back and forth between MailChimp and Little Green Light is the point I'm making there. So, again, the more automated and the more you can set up in advance, the easier it's going to make your job on the day of. Establish giving goals. This is incredibly, incredibly important. It still blows my mind after all the years of fundraising that people go into a campaign and not have a goal for it. I am a huge proponent of goals. I think goals are motivating. I think you need to have an overall goal. I think you need to have a stretch goal. Usually I'll set a stretch goal of 10 to 20% over the goal. Goals are motivating not only for your team, but for the donors. And again, if you can have a progress bar on your donation page to show how the campaign is progressing, that can be very motivating to donors. You also need to think about your average ask and your ask string. And to explain that, like usually Giving Tuesday is what I call a low buy-in campaign. So the average gift is going to want to say be $25 to $35 because your hope again is to try to get some people engaged on Giving Tuesday that might not regularly engage with you. And then the ask string is the level of donation on the page where they go to donate, whatever that is, whether it's the cause box or your website. So you start with 25, 50, 100, 250, or whatever that is. But I, again, would encourage not to go too high. I think, again, that Giving Tuesday tends to be a day where people give more gifts of lesser amounts. So you don't want to intimidate someone by starting the gift, your ask string on your donation page out at $75. Even that there's an other option that made people like, oh, well, I can't give that, so I can't give. So just, really think through what the average gift is for your organization. If you've done Giving Tuesday in the past, what the average gift was on Giving Tuesdays in the past, and making that maybe a little bit lower than you would normally so you can encourage new folks to come in and give. I also think this is very important. You need to salt the pot before Giving Tuesday. So what we would do is about a week and a half before Giving Tuesday, my team would reach out to some folks that had given more significant gifts the year before, and we would basically ask them to donate early. So the page would be open, but we wouldn't be promoting it except for to this handful of people. So we would go into the day with 20 to 25% of our goal already raised. Again, that can be very encouraging to folks because nobody wants to be the first one to make a gift, or they don't want to see that your $10,000 goal that you have done zero. So if you can have a couple $1,000s already that has been donated before the day of, that's great. Salting the pot is always a good thing. And then next we're going to talk about matching gifts because matching gifts are incredibly important. Yes, Tanya. Think about your community and what those in your community can afford to give. Work with them, not against them. Great point. So securing a matching gift. So make a list of prospects, and this can be individual or businesses. It doesn't have to always be an individual. It could be a business. We had businesses, and I'll show you our examples in a minute, and decide on the amount of the ask. Ideally, 50% of the overall goal would be best, but you could take 25 or 30 or whatever you need to take. I would also recommend, that you have some type of materials that you could take when you go to talk to these people, or if you talk to them on the phone that you could email them after. It could literally just be a one pager that says, here's the benefit to you. We're going to put you on all of our social media. Here's our following on Facebook. Here's our following on Instagram. Here's our following on whatever. Here's our website visitors. Your logo will be on the front page of the website saying you're the matching gift sponsor for Giving Tuesday. And even a sample graphic, like make a little graphic that has their logo on it so they can visualize what a social post will look like with their graphic on it. And here's the other hint. You can have more than one matching donor. You can have a couple and combine their gifts. Or split it up during the day. So like if you had two corporations, you could do one the first half of the day, one the second half of the day, or you can combine them together, whatever works out for you and whatever that they're agreeable to. You can have more than one match donor. Some organizations will use this day for their board members. They'll ask their board members to give their board gift, and they'll have board members to give a gift, and they'll put that together for the match. So it doesn't have to be. Think outside the box about that, I guess is what I'm saying, especially if there's something that relates to your mission in your town. So this is inspiration, first inspiration slide. This was actually, I was the director of the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia here in Northeast Georgia. And one of our match sponsors for many years was Fido's World. And it was a local dog training boarding facility here in our town. And they matched all gifts. Usually our Giving Tuesday goal was like $10,000. They would match all gifts up to $5,000. So you can see there how we used their logo. It was a great logo, very colorful, stood out. And, this also, you see it like the social post there on the right, it says, wow, it's only 9 a.m. and we've already raised $1,700 and counting. So again, social posts are a great way to keep people updated and encouraged to give. So this is an example of that. And I want to tell you really quick about that dog. So earlier when I talked about one iconic story that you could share throughout the campaign, that dog's name was Siva. She came in literally right before Giving Tuesday that year, like right before Giving Tuesday, and you may see her paw is wrapped up in pink, and she has like a dark spot on the tip of one of her ears. She was hit by a train. It's not funny, but it's crazy when you say it out loud. That obviously she was not hit full on by a train. She was just clipped, but she was injured pretty badly. She lost part of her ear. She lost her paw. So she was injured, but it was a great story, right? I mean, you have this beautiful, husky-ish dog who came in. She was covered in soot when we first got her in. We had all the pictures of her intake. I saved all the picture of the mangled paw. But she came in. It was a great story, and we talked all about, we repeated her story continuously throughout all of the Giving Tuesday communications because it was an incredible story. And remember, especially on social, not everybody's going to see every post. So you can repeat stories and people may not see them always. Next, we're going to talk about is defining your purpose. Of course, Giving Tuesday could just be Giving Tuesday. It can be the lead-in for your year-end campaign, and that is fine. That is fine to do that. But I've also found it works very well. And again, we did this earlier on to sometimes designate that money to a specific program or service or need. So like your summer camp operations or food for your shelter animals. Again, and I'll show you an example in a minute, but if you choose a specific program or service, it can be very motivational for people to have that definitive goal. Like, we're raising all the money on this day to feed all of our shelter animals for the year. That was our original Giving Tuesday campaign. It can often be very specific ask. Again, that's very tangible and have a very low buy-in. Here's my warning to you. We did Giving Tuesday early on when we first started doing Giving Tuesday. We started when Giving Tuesday started in 2012. We started what we call the Food Bowl Fund, but all the money that we raised on Giving Tuesday went to feed our animals at the shelter for an entire year, and we had to raise $10,000 is what it was at the time. And the average gift, and you'll see the graphics coming up, was I think it was $30 feeds an animal for 30 days. So very great line, very tangible, very small amount. People are like, ooh, I can get $30 and feed a homeless animal for 30 days. However, over the years of hosting Giving Tuesday, we started raising more money on Giving Tuesday than we needed for food. So it is, if you designate it to something, remember that is a designated fund. So if it is incredibly popular, you could wind up with more money you need, which is an awesome problem to have. But we had to back out of that, and we moved the Food Bowl Fund to a different time of the year. And we started using Giving Tuesday just as our lead-in for our year-end campaign. So that is just a warning, a point of warning to be careful about. But again, you'll see there on the right, that was our graphic when we did the Food Bowl Fund, Fill Their Bowls, Food Bowl Fund, Homeless Animals Need You. At the time, Purina was giving us a matching gift. And again, the slogan was a gift of $30 will feed a rescued animal for 30 days. And we would keep stories throughout the year when we got in animals that were really skinny and emaciated. And, we'd put those up at Giving Tuesday and say, here's, little Bobo who came back in May, and he came to us skin and bones, and because of people like you, we were able to give him nutritious food and get him to a healthy weight again. And we'd have before and after photos. So once we knew that was going to be our thing for Giving Tuesday, we would save stories throughout the year to use during that time. The one on the left there is actually an organization called Helping Women Period that gives menstrual products to women in need that are homeless or low income. And again, they had a very tangible ask because a $35 gift gave a woman all of the menstrual products she needed for a full year. And that's a pretty incredible. So $35 pays for 365 worry-free days. And again, they had a big match. So those are very tangible needs, a program need and an operational need that they targeted Giving Tuesday toward. Gather your support. So again, it's very important to think about your stories you're going to use. Go ahead and have those lined up and pulled. You don't want to be hustling the day before Giving Tuesday trying to say, oh, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? Getting the photos that go with those stories. If you need to get video content, and that could be, still photos that are made to a video, or recording folks, gathering quotes and testimonials. Again, don't be ashamed or afraid to focus on one iconic story and just keep repeating it, but pull all your resources together well in advance so you're not hustling for that stuff at the last minute, because that's the worst and it's very stressful. I know I've been in that situation too, so you don't want to be hustling for those things at the last minute. Developing your copy, again, something you can do well in advance. If you know your story or stories that you're going to be using that day, or what you're going to be promoting, whether it's year end, kickoff to year end, or a specific need or program, you can go ahead and write your emails. Then from your email copy, adapt and write your social post, edit down your social post. You need to write copy for your website and for the donation page. And I will say this about Giving Tuesday. There are so many emails that go out on Giving Tuesday. Subject lines are incredibly crucial. I would definitely encourage you to go out on the internets and Google Giving Tuesday subject lines. I'm sure you'll find a million examples, but really cull through and be creative. If you can do something creative, that pertains to your mission, that's great. But the purpose is to get people to open the email, right? That's all you need to do, is get them to open the email. But I'm actually, in the booklet you're going to get with this webinar, I'm giving you 2 pages of email lines that I particularly like, that I've culled together over the years. And that's not even all the email subject lines I have. That's just a small part of them. And then also, Giving Tuesday has a website. I don't know if y'all know this, but they are their own organization, and they have a website called givingtuesday.org. And on that website, I found that you have to dig for it a little bit. They don't make it necessarily easy to find, but they have guides and suggestions and artwork and clip art and all kinds of stuff that you can use on there. So I definitely encourage you to just go, look around on their website, see what they have available, because they do have resources available to organizations. And then stewardship. Again, if you've ever had a webinar with me, I think 3 of my 5 webinars I do are on stewardship. But I'm a big proponent of donor relations and thanking your donors appropriately. So again, you can go ahead and write your thank you email well in advance and just leave out the part about how much you raised. You can drop that in at the end. You can go ahead and load it in your CRM. And do you want to do anything the day of? If somebody gives a substantial gift, like a $500 gift, do you want to call them? Do you want to have a board member call them? But again, establish a schedule and a timeline for the stewardship, including what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And then you'll be sending those out the day of and maybe the day after. But then you also want to have a final wrap up post and email and thank you, maybe a week to 2 weeks out. And again, this is going to be in the middle of December, so you're going to be thanking people again during the middle of giving season, which is never a bad thing. I would also prepare a print letter, especially if you send a postcard, because some people may drop by a check that day or send in a check or call you and say, can we mail you a check? And it doesn't hurt to go ahead and just whatever you write for the email, put it in a print letter format, so you have it ready and waiting in case somebody does give you a check or a physical donation, that you need to send them a mailed letter versus an email. Oops, sorry, y'all. This is actually a stewardship plan for year-end campaign, so it is much more robust than probably what you need for Giving Tuesday. But the point here is, we had a plan for mailed gifts and for online gifts, and it depended on the amount they gave, who contacted them, how quickly they were contacted, and what they received. So again, you just want to plan it out so that you know what's going to happen, and make sure it's going to happen, because thanking is the most important part. Again, these were 2 things from that same campaign I showed you earlier. And this is another good point. Carry the graphic, like Siva, this dog. We carried her throughout the whole campaign. She was on the post. She was on the letters. She was on the save the date card. She was on everything. Because again, you want it to look cohesive and pulled together. So you want all of your communications when they see this to be like, oh, that's the Humane Society. But there on the left, that is our post Giving Tuesday post on social media. It says, thank you. You helped raise more than $17,000 for homeless rescues. Not only do we meet our goal of 10,000, we exceeded it. And then we thanked Fido's World. Here's another important point. Tag your corporate and business supporters. So we'll talk a bit more about corporate supporters in a few minutes, but definitely tag them if they have a social media presence so that it appears on their timelines as well. And then of course on the right is the letter we sent. We did have a letter that went out, and it told Steve's story in the middle of the letter. So yeah, just have those things ready. Here's some more. Here's an email thank you. This is actually a client I worked with, Chi-Town Kitties outside of Chicago. And this was actually for another giving day they had. But again, use photos, be a little warm, be a little fuzzy. You can say things like, "You're our life-saving heart of gold hero." Be authentic. I'm a huge, again, proponent of being authentic. And then there on the right was another email we sent that was like a before and after photos of these animals. Like, these are them with you, these are them without you. So definitely use photos and videos to thank donors as well that show the impact of their gifts. Developing your graphics. So I don't know who doesn't know about Canva, but if you don't know about Canva, Canva is a free online resource where you can do graphics. And as a nonprofit, you can actually apply as a 501c3 and get Canva Professional for free. I also want to mention another resource really quickly is Unsplash, UNSPLASH.org, .com. I'm not sure if it's .com or .net, but anyways, Unsplash. But you can download professional photos on there for free. And they have lots of great photos. So I definitely check them out. Of course, Canva has photos on there that you can use as well. So certainly check out both of those resources. But I use Unsplash a lot for my clients, especially if you have an organization where you can't show photos of the people you serve. Like if you work with domestic violence or children, you can pull down stock photos that you can use with your campaign. So I definitely check out those two resources. But again, make a list of what you're going to need, what you're going to need for social, what you're going to need for email, the size that you need. Make sure you have your photos and videos gathered. Make sure you have the logos of the sponsors, the sponsor of the matching gift folks ready to roll. Get that ahead of time. And then again, incorporate your organizational branding. And as much as you can, try to make everything that you're putting out about Giving Tuesday look very similar. I will tell you, this is a hot tip. Giving Tuesday actually encourages you to change up their little heart logo. It is not branded, and you can see here some examples of people who take it and make it into their own colors. They put their own color on it or their own spin on it for their organization, and Giving Tuesday likes that. They don't mind it. They say, do what you need to do. They even, if you want to change the slogan, you can say like Giving News Day or whatever. That's not a good example, but they don't mind if you even change up the slogan. They want you to be creative and do something that resonates for your organization. And again, here's just some quick examples of organizations that I've worked for, that I've done things for. You can have one branded look in one post really, and just change up the call to action. So this is the same post, as you can see, but different things. Save the date, a week out, 1 week away, join me tomorrow, today's the day. So you just change up the call for action, but they all look the same. Same thing with helping women, period. Again, save the date, 2 days until, tomorrow's the day, and the day of double your good. So you can make one post like that, and not saying use it for all of your social posts, but you can use it for part of your social posts. And not, again, it limits your work, but it also increases your visibility because your posts are all looking very similar, and people, oh, that's their post. And these are very branded to their colors. Changed up the Giving Tuesday, heart and everything to their color, so they're very specific to that organization. This is one that I use for Chi-Town Pitties, where we use Giving Tuesday templates, but we use the organization's photos. So these were actually the template that Giving Tuesday sent out, the little half moon sort of on the right. We just dropped in Chi-Town Pitties logo above the Together We Give tagline, and then dropped in a photo of one of their rescues in the photo part. So again, some of these templates and things already exist on the Giving Tuesday website. They actually download into Canva. So you can go to the Giving Tuesday website and download these into Canva and use templates they already have. You can just add your logo and add your photos and make it go for you. If that makes what's easiest for you, great. And again, we dropped in information there about the match. So all you really need to add to these are your photos, your logo, and match information if you have a match for the day of. But that's also a great and easy way to pull together a very branded, cohesive look, but also very tailored to your organization. I know we're getting close to time. I'll talk a little faster. We're getting near the end. And again, this is day of, I did this just as a day of post. Chi-Town Pitties, obviously, they rescued pit bull mixes. So again, I just made one post for them, and we just changed up the call to action the day of. This actually was email header that I used stock photos. This was another animal shelter, but they did not have really great photos of their animals, and they didn't have really the resources to take photos of their animals. So I just pulled down stock photos of animals from Canva or the web, the internet, wherever, Unsplash, and used them. And that's okay too. That's okay too, as long as you're getting the idea of the mission across. Schedule your digital media. So again, as much as you can schedule in advance as is possible, as your systems will allow you to do, pre-schedule your social and your emails. Again, just to make sure that they're ready to go. And then of course that day, the day of, or the day they're going to deploy, period, whether it's in advance or the day of, have someone following up to make sure they actually go live, just in case. There are some places where you're not gonna be able to do that. If you do choose to do posts that are update posts of the goal, but you can, like this, go ahead and make the post and say you've given XXX of the XXX goal, or there's only this much more to go, but you can have them ready, just go in and drop in the number and then post them. So that probably is one of the examples of you could not do in advance, because you would need to wait until right before you sent that post or that email, made that post or sent that email, to drop in those numbers. Challenges. So I think this can be something really great. I wouldn't stress out about this if you can't do it, but if you can incentivize people to donate during the day, that's a good thing. They could be gift certificate drawings, low value giveaways, small value matches. It also allows you to include other corporate sponsors. Point of warning, again, if you do these, make sure you're able to track and see who's actually donating during these times, so that you can pull the winner or give everyone who donated the gift if it's a gift for everyone. Here's a couple of examples from left to right. Left was Chi-Town PDs again, and they had a local restaurant give a $50 gift card, and all $25 donations, $25 plus donations made during a specific time period got entered to win that gift card. In the middle was one that we did at the Humane Society. We called it a power hour, and everyone who donated at least $25 or more within those 2 hours got a $25 gift certificate to a local spa. And that person was on the spa was one of our board members, and she donated that. And then on the right there is a small match, and they actually gave $250 to match gifts given within a certain period of time. So even if you have an overall match, especially if you meet it early on, later in the day, you could have a small match set up for a specific time period that you could ask people to give toward. These typically need to have pretty, again, low buy-ins, like you want it to be around $25 to $30. And you don't want it to be unrealistic to the gift. So let's say the gift is $50, you want them to give at least 25. If the gift is $250, it's probably too much, because nobody wants to give a $125 gift to get entered. So I would make them smaller gifts to win, or certificates to win, that have a smaller gift to apply for, I can't think of the words, on my vocabulary is failing me, that they can be entered for. And but those are great ways to incentivize folks to give. And you can send out emails about those as well. We would send out one email sort of at the start of the day and tell everybody when the different ones were coming up. And then on social, we just put it up right before that time period started. Other strategy notes, just again, get near the end, y'all, I promise. Don't rely solely on social media. You need to use your email. Don't be afraid to stand out. Do something fun, different. Remember to tag your sponsors and your donors on social media. You can also include a link to their website if you want to when you send out emails. Use the social media donate buttons. A lot of people have different feelings about the donate buttons on Instagram and Facebook. I read something yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to deep dive into it yet, that they're changing the way that happens, because you don't get the information back from people about the donors. But I say I'd rather have the money than not have the money. So if you are signed up for the Facebook donate button and it has worked for your organization and it's easy for people to use, I say use it. But that's totally up to you and your organization. And then remember to regularly provide updates on the goal throughout the day. And that can be part of any of your posts, but you want to know how how close you're to your goal. And I mentioned this earlier and I forgot to go over it, but use urgent language, but be careful about using urgent language. Like, you don't want to say at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're not meeting our goal, give now. Obviously, that's sort of an unrealistic example, but don't be the little boy who cried wolf. And don't, you can use urgent language to just make it very, hi Terry, but just, be very careful about how you use that and use it very strategically. And also, if your organization decides not to raise money on Giving Tuesday, you can still participate in Giving Tuesday. Some things you could do is you could use that day to show gratitude for your donors or volunteers, or even your team. Your team could get together and go maybe volunteer with another organization in town that y'all partner with. You can have a good news takeover on social media and post a lot of great stories about your organization and what you're doing. So even if you're not raising money, use the day to promote your organization and to spread good and to acknowledge people, and don't let the day go by. You can still use the day even if you're not raising money to bring some recognition to your organization and to thank folks that help your organization out. And again, don't feel obliged to participate in Giving Tuesday just because everyone else does. You need to do what's best for your organization. But if you're going to do it, I always say do it well. What's the Ron Swanson quote about don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing? So, make sure you plan your strategy to yield the best results, because if you're going to put the effort into doing it, do it as good as you possibly can. Freebie. So there's a QR code there. I'll let this hang for a minute, but then also after the webinar, I know Jenna will send me the list so I can send you out the link again. But I do have a freebie workbook. Like I said, there's a lot of planning checklist worksheets, things I talked about in the webinar that you can sort of go down and check off, as well as 2 pages of email subject lines. So do definitely go and download that. It's pretty robust. I think it's like 12 or 14 pages. I sort of went overboard on it, but certainly grab that. That's available to everybody who attends the webinar. Also, just wanted to mention that starting today, y'all, first people to hear about this, I'm actually going to be working one-on-one with folks to develop their year-end strategy and plan, including Giving Tuesday if you do that. So you will basically work with me one-on-one. We will sit down and work out your plan from A to Z, and what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, what you're going to ask for. And that, again, it'll be a one-on-one situation with me. And I'm calling it Slay the Season. Slay. Okay, so anyway, sorry. And for people that are attending this webinar, because y'all, again, are so gracious to give me your time, I'm going to give you a $50 discount. So again, there's a barcode there. I also will send that out in the after email, and you can put in 50 off for the discount when you go to the page. And then this is it. This is the final thing, but connect with me. There's all of the ways you can connect with me on LinkedIn, social media, Instagram, Facebook, my email address, my website. If you scan the QR code on this slide, that leads you to my page where you can book a free 30-minute discovery call to talk about, if you want to work together with me or have any questions about the planning session or anything else. I'm always glad to answer questions. That is my rescue dog, Millie, who is my Vice President of Positive Client Relations. I did not put her title on there. But that is it, y'all. And I want to thank Jenna again and CauseVox for having me today. I'm cutting it close, but I almost got in at 45 minutes. I know we were 5 minutes in, so I try to keep it to the 45 minutes. Sometimes I talk a little fast, but I'm here to answer questions for the next 10 to 15 minutes. And again, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Jenna, for being my host. And I guess we can open the floor.
Yes, thank you so much, Julie. Thank you for all that very thorough and detailed Giving Tuesday tips. I loved the graphic recommendations where you could take one template and sort of just like tailor all the messaging with using that one design. But for everyone who's still on, any questions for Julie? Have you all
Was that too thorough?
yeah, too thorough. So they're like, we've got it now. We know what we're gonna do. Everything's super clear. This is why we come to see Julie. Like who out there is planning on running a Giving Tuesday campaign? And then if you have any questions, if you can actually drop those in the Q&A, we can't like unmute attendees. But if you can chat it into the Q&A or the chat, we can address your questions there. No problem. Okay, so from Brandy. Do you have thoughts about how folks can start collecting email now if they don't have a list? That's a great question.
One of the best way, well, I don't know, there's no best way. If you have a good social media presence, I would, put up almost daily emails to ask people to join your friends list. I shy away from calling it email list because so many people are so sensitive to spam. And they don't want to be spammed all the time. but to put out, to have a page, but again, you need to have it set up where you have a page where they can go to, make it super easy for folks to put in their first name, last name, email address. I mean, you don't want to, ask them 500 other questions, just make it super easy. If you're doing any events between now and Giving Tuesday, if you're doing any fall festivals or anything like that, have a sign up. Maybe you have a sign up where people have to give their email to enter a prize drawing, something like that. You can also have that type of thing on your social media, or even send out an email to your donors like, we're having people sign up, share this with your friends. It's not always easy to get emails because people are so sensitive about it, but just keep asking and putting it out there, because people will sign up, but a lot of times you have to put it in front of their face multiple times before they will do it, because they may see something and just not have a chance to do it at that time. So don't think you can put up one email a month or a week, or a social post, and people will answer it. You may have to be a little more aggressive about that, for lack of a better word. But if y'all have any ideas, I'd love to hear them, because that is a challenge. It can be a challenge for people, but usually social media tends to be the best way, or just getting it organically in the community and trying to get people to give you their email addresses.
Right, that's a really great point. Yeah, Marcina says, thank you so much for the terrific webinar. Ready to get those personal pages to our board via CauseVox. Nice. Sam says our ED worries that our fundraising goals are too small to post publicly. Any advice on how to convince her that our goals are worth sharing? We have a $1,000 goal for Giving Tuesday this year.
So I will tell you, Sam, that one of my main things I tell people all the time is, people don't know you need money unless you tell them. And that sounds incredibly basic, but it is true. If you don't ask, people will not give. But even so, I mean, is 1K really realistic? Do you think you could? The first thing I would ask you is, do you think you could raise more? Are y'all being very judicious and safe on your goal? Because if it is possible for you to raise more, but you were just saying, oh, we don't want to over inflate it, really ask yourself that question. And I would also try to consider still getting a match, because if you got a match, you might could get that up to $1,500 or $2,000, but I don't think it's too much. You might also want to relate it to something. So I don't know that $1,000 is for. Is it for something specific? Because if it is for something specific, like a specific program or a specific need, then you can say, this is all we need every year to fund this particular thing. And if we get more than that, we can fund more of this thing, but this is what we need. So again, if you can tie it to a specific need, that might also be, but if it was $200, I might say no, but if it's $1,000 or more, I think it's worth promoting to people, because they need to know that you need that level of giving, because that is a lot of money for some organizations. It really is.
Going to the Q&A panel, Tani says, again, about the email subscribers, they lost a lot of email subscribers last year during Giving Tuesday. Any advice on maintaining the list while still participating?
I'm going to say something that may be controversial, but if you are doing, or not over aggressive, if you're sending them emails, like 3 or 4 emails, and maybe 3 the day of and 3 the week before, and you've been, again, warming up your donors and they're used to getting emails from you, and people drop off, goodbye. I know that sounds bad, but more than likely, those people were not going to ever give to you anyway. If you go back and look, if you have the capability to look, I find that a lot of times the people who drop off were people that were event attendees, or maybe they gave a one-off gift as in a peer-to-peer fundraiser, and maybe they never intended to give you another gift. Like they came with a friend to a gala, or they gave money to their friend who was raising money for a walk or a run, and they are just like, no, I don't want to get emails from this organization. So you might also track who is dropping off, and not just assume that it's people who are illegitimate donors. Because I think people get really scared when they say, oh, 9 unsubscribes from one email, but look at who they are. And I say, don't necessarily be afraid to lose them, because if they're going to unsubscribe or something like that, they probably aren't truly engaged with your organization anyway. That may not be fun information to hear, but it's what I'm going to say.
I mean, hey, gotta be realistic. Anastasia asks, do you think Giving Tuesday is better for raising funds for local initiatives, or can it also be used to raise money for international causes?
There are tons of people around the world who use Giving Tuesday. I was shocked. Actually, go to the Giving Tuesday website, because when I was doing research for this organization, I had pretty deep dive into the Giving Tuesday website, and literally people around the world perform Giving Tuesday. They have in Asia and Africa and everywhere, but I think it can be anything. I mean, if you already have donors who are giving to your cause, they're going to give to your cause, and they're still supporting your cause. And I don't think it matters whether it's local or, I think, they say that it's, it should have a local push, but I think it could be anything. If it's your cause, it's your cause. If you're raising money for it, you're raising money for it.
And for Tanya,
yes, Jessica. Jessica says, "Love unsubscribes. It cleans up your list."
right. Exactly.
Love that perspective, Jessica. I'm gonna use that.
And then I think Tanya had one for being their first Giving Tuesday, and she's in a new role working with her director of operations. What is a great pointer as she goes into this, as it with, it being her first Giving Tuesday?
Plan. I cannot be a proponent enough of planning, and do it far enough out. Like, you can start now working. You should be starting now working on Giving Tuesday and year end. And if you could include your team, all the much better. I, again, was very inclusive of my team at the Humane Society. I had to be, because the people in operations, the people that were bringing in the rescues, that were providing the medical care for them, that were out there in the trenches doing the hard work, they were the ones that brought me the stories, right? They were the ones that would come to my office and say, "Oh my God, Julie, we just got a dog that was hit by a train." So, I mean, you need to be closely working with people across your organization, the program folks and the operations folks, to find out what are the needs and what is going on and what are the stories, because they're going to be the ones that are going to help you fuel your fundraising. But really, just, I would also say, don't be overly ambitious. Do what you can do and do it really well. And you can always add on and ratchet up every year. But if I had to do one thing, I would try to find a match gift. I would try to find a match gift, because I have yet to see a match gift fail, knock on wood, but I have yet to see one fail. So I think that could be incredibly motivating to folks, especially if you have a very engaged email list that is already giving to you, that a match gift is one of the best things you can do to encourage donations that day.
Amazing. Perfect. I love that wrap up. We have 3 minutes. Any last minute questions? This has been amazing as always.
I'll roll back up to the
make sure to grab Julie's freebies. She's got a ton of insider tips, as you know. So if you work one-on-one with her as well, I'm sure you'll get just invaluable information and help you skyrocket your success this year. It's such a great time when everybody just collectively wants to make a difference in the world. So definitely take advantage of this season, and shout out again to Julie and all of our participants. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone, again for attending. It was great. Thank you, Jenna. Bye-bye.
All right.